Hello guys, welcome to the next video on Qt tutorial for beginners. In the last video I have shown you how you can create your first Qt application using your Qt Creator IDE. And this was the project we have created last time, so I'm going to just close this project. And this time we are going to create a new application using the GUI application widget, right? And we will see how the designer works in Qt and how some of the functionality works in Qt designer. So let's get started. First of all, just click this file menu item here and then click new file or project, and in here this time we will choose application and we are going to choose Qt widget application, and then just click choose, and in here just give the title of your project, for example First GUI, and then click next, and then click once again next, and here you will see the information for your GUI application, and you can see the class name for your GUI application for your window is main window. So in here you can change the name of your window which is going to appear when you start your application. So for example, you can say my window, and you can see the header files and the source files take the same name as the class name, but you can even change these class name and header name like this. So if you want the different header name than the class, you can just edit it from the header file and source file from here. Okay, but for now I'm going to leave everything as default. So once again I'm going to show you what I did. New, and then application, Q widget application, choose, and then first GUI. So I will just say first GUI and then click next and then next. Okay, for now I will leave it as default, but remember, always you can always change this class name and file name, so it's not necessary that this name should be the same which is the default, but you can change it. So you just need to click next and then click finish here. Now it's going to create you this kind of a project. Now in the last video we have seen what does this .pro file does. So first of all we will go into the first GUI.pro file, and you can see here, I will just minimize this, and you can see here it includes the core library and GUI library by default, right? And in here it's saying that it's a widget application, and the target for this file or project is First GUI, which is the name of my project, and the template which is used for this project is app, which is a GUI application, and it's including some source files. So source files are main.cpp and window.cpp, main window.cpp. So when you go here in the source folder, you can see main.cpp and main window.cpp. So whatever source file are included in your project, it should be listed here. Okay, now it's also giving the header file list. So whatever header files you have in the header section, for example main window.h, it should be added something like this. So you just need to add this field headers plus equals the header file names, and you also have this main window.ui file. This is the user interface file for your project, or especially for this class which is main window class, right? So in order to add this UI file, you just need to use the field form plus equals main window.ui, which is the name of this file. Okay, so this is your project file. Now let's go to our main.cpp here, and we can see that it has this main method or function here, and it's creating the object of Q application, which I have explained you in the last video, right? And it's returning this a.exec, which is the object of Q application, which is a.exec, right? And whatever you write in between these two lines of code will be executed as your GUI, for example, right? So what we are doing here is we are creating an object of my window class, which is this class, which is automatically created by Qt for us. So you can see when you go to the main window.h, there is a class called main window, right? So this object is created in your main method, which is this one, and it just calls the function which is show on this object of main window, right? And this will be responsible to show your windows, these two lines of code. Now you can perform different operation in the main window class. So let's go to the main window.header class, and in here you can see here, first of all, it's inheriting from Q main window. It's just saying Qt that this will be your main window template kind of thing, right? So there are different templates you can use in Qt, for example main window or dialogues or other kind of windows. So it's the main window. Okay, now it's using this namespace, which is UI, which is basically telling this UI file that just include this main window in the UI. Okay, and then we have this macro here. So what does this Q object macro is doing here? So there is a term called MOC, or Meta Object Compiler, which converts this macro. If it's included in your file, then it takes all the header files and it converts these header files into equivalent C++ code, right? So this macro indirectly tells Qt that we are going to use GUI application, and we are going to use signals and slot, which we are going to learn in the next video what is signals and slots. So if you add this, it makes it easier, or it allows us to create signals and slots for our widgets, right? And whatever widgets or class or header files you include here, it will convert into the language which C++ understand, okay, or equivalent source code for C++, right? Now you have the constructor, which takes one argument. We are going to leave it as default, and we also have the destructor, right? So what this destructor is going to do, whatever pointer object we have, we are going to delete all the pointer objects in this destructor. And in the private access specifier, we have an object of main window, which is this class, right? And we have this object name UI. Okay, so this object is going to access all the widget you will add in your main window, and using this object you will be able to access all the widgets we are going to add in our UI. Now let's go to CPP file here, and you can see we have the constructor, and what it's doing in the constructor, first of all, it's initializing this UI object with a new main window, and then this object is calling setup UI, which is going to open your window. Okay, and in the destructor it's deleting this UI object. Simple, right? So now we will go to our main window.ui file. So just double click on it. It's going to open this kind of designer for you. So it's similar to other designer if you have seen in the other languages like C++ or Java X, Java FX or Java Swing application, right? So you have some widgets here which you can drag and drop into this main window, and then you can change the properties of this widget you have dragged using this property attributes, right? So for example, we take a push button here. Okay, now every push button has its object name. By default it's push button 1 or push button or something like this. So whenever I add two push buttons, you see first push button name is push button and second push button name is push button underscore 2, right? I'm going to delete this push button for now, but you can change the object name of this push button from here. So for example, push button close, for example, right? And press enter, and it's going to change the object name of your push button. You see here, whenever I just make it bigger, this name is now push button close because I changed it from here. Now if you want to change the text on this push button, you just need to double click on this push button and then just change the text on this. So for example, click me, and you have other option of changing the text, which is going to the property called text here, which is this one, and then just add some more item, or you can change the text from here also. Okay, so you can see whenever I add something to the text, it's visible here, right? Now for example, let's run the application and let's see what happens. We can see our button in the window. So it's going to compile our code. First of all, you can see it's building the code, and now it's showing our main window, and we have this click me button here. And by default this main window has a status bar and toolbar. So what is status bar? Status bar is at the bottom of your window. You can see there is this object called status bar which will be at the bottom, and there is a toolbar which is at the top. So this toolbar you can even drag and drop, and whenever you want to add something to this toolbar, you can add it from here. So you can see I can just pick this toolbar and I can just move it outside. You see this is my toolbar, and once again I can pick and place this toolbar anywhere in my main window, right? Now let's add some code in the button so that it can show some message, for example, or it can perform some action, right? So for example, whenever I click this button, I want to close this main window. How can I do this? So I will just close it for now, and what I'm going to do here is, let me just minimize this thing, and in here you can see there are some buttons here. So by default this button is selected, which is edit widget. So we are in edit widget mode, right? You have some other modes like layout modes for horizontal and vertical layout, and we have this mode called edit signal and slot. So just click this second button which says edit signal and slot, and as soon as you click this, you will see here this mode is changed for this GUI application or GUI, and whenever I hover over this button, it shows some red color on it, right? So to add functionality to our button, just click on the button and then move out your mouse, and then you can see it's making some line kind of thing, and just release your mouse. So just release your mouse and it's going to open this configure connection UI for you. Now there is something called signal and slots concept in Qt GUI application, which we are going to see in detail in the next video. But it's something like input and output concept. So whenever you press the button, which is the input, then what will happen? So for example, we want to close our application as the output of inputting the press button, right? So in here I will choose clicked, and just choose this, just click this checkbox. It's going to show you more options. So just choose this clicked here, and then choose this close here. So our signal is clicked and slot is close. So whenever I click the press button, it's going to close the application. So just click OK, and you can see clicked and close. And then once again we can go to our edit widget mode, and then this signal and slot will not be visible, but in the background it's functioning. So once again I'm going to run my application, and let's see what happens now. So now when I click this button, it's going to close the application, right? Once again I click the button and it's going to close the application. Now if you want to remove this signal and slot functionality, you just need to select it and right click on it, and then just delete this. So this will be removed, the signal and slot functionality. Now for example, I want to have some label here, and I want to display some text on it. So what I can do here, I can just go to edit widget mode once again, and in here I will just search for a label, and I will make it a little bit bigger, and you can see it has some text, which is a sample placeholder text, which you can change from here. So for example, you can change it to status, right? And what I want to do is, whenever I click this button, I want to change I want to display some message in this label. So what I can do, there is one more method of giving signal and slots to our widget, which is right clicking on your widget. For example, I will right click on my button and I will go to the slot. So I will just choose this, go to slot, and then in here I will just choose when it's clicked. So just choose clicked and click OK, which is going to create a function in your main window class. You can see there is a function which is on push button close clicked, and whenever we write some code inside it, it's going to be executed whenever we click the button, right? So for example, I want to display some text on the label. So I will just go to the main window UI once again, and I will just select this label, and first of all I will see what is the object name of this label. So you can see the object name of this label is label itself, which is here, right? Label. So I will go to my edit mode here, and when I go to the edit mode, so I am in design mode, and when I go to the edit mode by clicking this button, it will show some XML kind of this file here. So this is the code behind for your UI, you can say, right? And you can switch to UI mode by clicking this button, switch mode, and it will go to the UI mode. So we want to go to main window.cpp, and we have this function here. So in order to set some text on this label, you just need to use UI, which is our object, UI object, which we have created. If it's small for you, I can make it bigger, and then just call this label object from here. So we have seen there is a label object name. This indicates the label which we have included, right? So this name should be same as this name, right? So it knows that we want to change something in label. And once again, call a function called, for example, set text. Okay, So set text, and it takes one argument. So for example, you can say button is clicked. Okay, and then save your code and run it once again. And once it's compiled and run, we will press our button and we will see what happens to this label. So when I click this button, it changes the text of this label to button is clicked, right? So this is other way of creating this event based functions in Qt. So that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please rate, comment, subscribe, and bye for now.